podcast where truth moves faster than a Holstein calf. No waiting on some pretty page. We're charting your ground in the digital age. From genomic codes to row-out facts, we cut through the noise, no holding back. Not your daddy's dairy news tonight. We're sparking debates with every insight. The ring's not where the real fight's at. It's in the data, in the channel chat. From pasture to processor to your morning cup, we're raising the stakes. Try and get ahead of herd. Yeah! Where the future's more than just a word. Ahead of herd. Come on! The bullvine's calling, let your voice be heard.
Welcome to the Bullvine Podcast, where we deliver the contrarian insights and uncomfortable truths the dairy industry needs to hear. I'm your host, and today we're diving into a story that's costing you $12,000 every single month you wait to act on it. We're talking about the seven-fold price difference between Holstein bulls and beef crosses, $200 versus $1,400 for the same calf from the same cow. Just different semen. In this episode, we expose why consultants charge $7,000 for what costs $150 to implement, why extension workshops are designed for attendance metrics instead of your profitability, and why major processors will lock up 70% of the beef dairy market by 2026. This is investigative dairy journalism at its finest. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive, where we cut through dairy industry noise to get you the insights that actually matter for your operation. Today, we're tackling something that seems like it should be incredibly simple. A revenue opportunity that's right there, but it's gotten tangled up in, frankly, a lot of unnecessary complexity.
Absolutely. We're diving deep into a future piece that's definitely been making waves, generating some serious buzz. And this one, it really does have layers. Layers of opportunity, yes, but also layers of, let's call it frustrating red tape. It's going to make farmers, I think, really rethink how they're looking at one of the easiest wins out there, beef on dairy.
Okay, let's set the stage here, because the context is crucial, isn't it? We're in this environment, have been for a while, of tight margins. Milk prices are all over the place, and farmers are, understandably, scrambling, looking for ways to bring in cash that don't involve massive capital outlay.
Yeah, exactly. They need cash flow. Not the kind that comes with signing, another $500,000 note for a new barn or fancy robots. They need simple, reliable revenue streams, stuff they can implement now.
And the market data shows they want this. The interest is definitely there. We're looking at the NAAB report, the National Association of Animal Breeders 2024 annual figures.
Right. And those numbers are pretty staggering. 84% of all beef semen sold is now going to dairy farms. 84%.
That's not just a little trend. That's a fundamental shift in the industry.
It really is. It shows the desire, the need to make this change is widespread. It's clearly driven by economics, by, let's be honest, a bit of desperation for some.
But it's not just about who wants to do it. The real stakes, the urgency, it comes down to the dollars and cents at the auction barn. And this disparity is, it's why we need to talk about this now. We've got USDA Agricultural Marketing Service reports, fresh data from October 15th, right across Midwest auctions.
And what are they saying? Straight Holstein bulls?
Yeah.
What are they fetching?
Barely making weight, really. $190 maybe. $210 if you're lucky, if the buyer's feeling generous that day.
Okay, so $200, give or take.
Yeah.
That's your ceiling for a dairy bull calf.
Pretty much. Now contrast that, the beef crosses come into the ring.
And the whole atmosphere changes, doesn't it? You can hear it in the auctioneer's voice.
Totally. They're consistently pulling $1,200 to $1,400. Consistently.
$1,200 to $1,400, okay.
And we even saw reports, one really nice Angus Cross heifer calf hit $1,575.
Wow. Okay, so let's just take that baseline difference.
Yeah.
$200 versus, let's say, $1,300 on average.
That's the number. $1,200 to $1,400 is the reliable range. That's 7 times the money. Just pause on that. 7 times money.
It's the same cow.
Exactly. Same cow carrying the calf, same feed going into her, same water, same barn space.
Same buyers, often standing ringside.
Often the very same buyers. The only physical difference is swapping out, a $20 dairy straw for a $25 beef straw?
Right. A $5 difference in input cost for $1,100 difference in output price.
Mm-hmm. It should be the easiest decision a farmer makes all year, like you said earlier.
But it's not, is it? And that's the core of this deep dive, the real controversy here. The problem isn't the technology. The tech is simple, it's cheap. It's a $25 straw.
So what is the problem?
It's the delay, the mandated complexity, the the advice that's being pushed. We're seeing this push for like a $6,000, $7,000 planning phase, testing, consulting, strategy sessions.
All before the farmer is supposedly allowed to try the actual fix.
Exactly. Before they spend $150 on 5 straws just to see if it works on their worst cows.
The planning costs thousands. The fix costs pocket change. It's completely backwards.
Astronomically higher. And we can't ignore the clock ticking here either. There's this looming 2026 deadline with processor consolidation.
We'll get into that more later, but yeah, the urgency is real.
It means if you spend the next 6 months developing a comprehensive plan like the consultants tell you to,
You might miss the boat entirely. The market isn't waiting for your feasibility study.
not a chance.
Okay, let's really nail down these numbers. That $1,200 price gap isn't just an anecdote.
No, the USDA AMS reports confirm it week after week. It's the minimum average difference you're seeing.
Consistently, $1,200 to $1,400 for the beef crosses. Holstein's struggling to break $200. Let's translate that. Think about a typical dairy, maybe 200 cows milking. They're breeding maybe 120 calves a year total, some for replacement, some destined for beef anyway.
Right. So let's say out of those 120, they decide to use dairy semen on just 50 calves that aren't absolutely critical for replacement. Maybe lower end cows are not sure about keeping long term.
Okay, 50 calves bred to Holstein bulls at $200 a pup.
That's $10,000. Simple math.
Now, what if they'd use beef semen on those same 50 cows at, say, $1,300 average?
50 times $1,300. That's $65,000.
So $10,000 versus $65,000. The difference, the opportunity cost, the cash they just voluntarily left on the table is $55,000.
$55,000 in additional revenue.
And this is the kicker. What did it cost to get that extra $55,000?
Well, the semen cost difference is maybe $5 a straw times 50 cows. Maybe, let's say they used 1.5 straws per conception. So 75 straws. That's under $400 in extra semen cost.
So less than $400 cost for $55,000 gain. And crucially, no extra capital investment needed.
None. No new buildings, no asking the bank for another loan, no hiring extra people.
It's pure margin, pure profit improvement, driven by a tiny change in input.
And you see farmers, understandably, agonizing over milk prices.
Right.
Fighting for every penny per hundredweight. They're debating cutting protein supplement by a tiny bit to save 50 cents, maybe save $5,000 over the whole year.
Which is important, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely. But at the same time, they're potentially walking away from $1,100 per calf on dozens of animals. It's this huge inefficiency that, when you add it all up, it can become a question of solvency.
Let's think about the cumulative impact, too. It's not just 1 year. Say a farm needs to restructure debt or just needs cash to cover rising fuel costs, labor, or whatever. If they miss out on that $50,000 or $60,000 this year, and then again next year, just because they stuck with dairy semen 18 months ago.
That's over $100,000 cash shortfall across 2 years.
And what does that mean practically?
That's the difference between making your loan payments comfortably and getting put on the bank's watch list. It's the difference between paying down debt and racking up interest on the operating line just to buy feed. That small decision today ripples through the balance sheet for years.
My gut reaction, just looking at the farm finance side, if I'm culling, let's say, just 10 cows a month that aren't making the replacement cut, and I get those $200 checks, okay, that's $2,000, but what could I have gotten?
10 cows times, say, $13. That's $13,000.
So by taking the $2,000, I'm actively choosing to forego $11,000 every single month.
It's a hemorrhage, like you said,
Again.
$11,000 a month. What does that cover on, say, a 150 cow operation?
That's easily a month's worth of diesel and repairs.
Or paying a good full-time employee for 2 months during planting or harvest season. It's real money that's just evaporating.
Yeah.
Because the system has somehow convinced people they need a PhD and a $7,000 plan before making a simple $25 purchase decision.
And it hits farms of all sizes. If you're smaller, say 80 cows.
That difference between maybe $8,000 from bull calves versus $50,000 or $60,000 from beef crosses, that is your cash flow. That's the difference between making it and needing the operating line constantly.
And for a larger farm, scaling that $50,000 or $60,000 difference across hundreds of calves.
It adds serious dollars to the bottom line, millions potentially, without the headache and risk of building a whole new barn or parlor.
It's just profit optimization, using the assets you already have more effectively.
It seems like the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest lever to pull for profitability right now, and yet the whole advisory system seems designed to make it feel like rocket science.
Which brings us right to this implementation intention gap. We have to challenge the standard advice here. What's the script? You know, the one farmers hear from extension, from consultants, when they ask about breeding to beef.
Oh, it's practically memorized. Standard issue. Well, first, you need comprehensive genomic testing.
Step 1, always testing.
Always. Then you need to build your breeding hierarchy, optimize your genetic selection matrix, blah, blah, blah.
Plan. Focus on perfection, maybe 7 generations down the road.
Instead of putting cash in your pocket today, it's all about future optimization over current reality.
They insist you need this perfect, scientifically validated plan before you order the first beef straw. But the actual data, the behavioral research, tells a very different story.
Yeah, this research from the Agricultural Systems Journal, March 2024. It's fascinating because it's just basic human psychology applied to farming.
What did it find?
It found that farmers who use what they call satisficing strategies, basically good enough practical decisions, like just jumping in, starting immediately with the cows they know are culls, the obvious ones. Those farmers actually had better sustained adoption rates. They stuck with beef on dairy longer than the farmers who spent 6 months or a year planning the perfect strategy.
That's brilliant, because it nails the problem with over-planning. It's that gap.
The implementation intention gap.
Right. The longer you wait between deciding you want to do something and actually doing it, the less likely you are to ever follow through. We all do it, right?
Yeah.
Decide to start exercising, spend weeks researching gyms and plans.
And never actually go. Yeah.
So this current structure, the mandate to wait for the $7,000 comprehensive plan.
It actively makes the problem worse. It widens that gap. It takes a simple $25 action, ordering different semen, and turns it into this massive, intimidating, expensive project.
Makes it feel overwhelming.
Exactly. The farmer's already stressed about everything else. You hand them a 50-page binder full of charts and genetic codes.
It goes into the deal with this later, maybe, pile.
Precisely. And the proof that people are jumping in anyway is right there in the NAAB semen sales numbers we mentioned.
7.9 million units of beef semen sold to dairies, 84% of all beef semen.
You can bet the vast majority of those farmers didn't sit through 6 months of consulting meetings first. They saw the $1,200 price difference at the sale barn, they needed the cash flow, and they just started. They likely skipped the optimization matrix entirely.
They grabbed the life preserver instead of waiting for swimming lessons.
Well put.
And the market rewards that action, doesn't it? It doesn't reward perfect planning. That never happens.
If 84% of the industry is doing it, it clearly works well enough at a basic level. The ones making the money are the ones who act it. Okay, let's really follow the money trail here, because this is where that 6-month planning delay isn't just inefficient. It starts to look, well, punitive, almost predatory. Let's break down how they get to that $6,000 or $7,000 figure.
Right. The consultant cost structure, it starts with the initial visit, right?
Yeah, usually. Just to come out, walk the farm, assess the situation. That's easily $500 to $800 right there.
The discovery phase, where they discover you need their expensive plan.
Bingo. Then comes the inevitable push. Comprehensive genomic testing.
Which we just talked about.
Yeah. It's around $40 per cow, maybe more depending on the test. Plus, often, there are coordination fees tacked on for the consultant to handle the samples and data.
So, for a pretty modest 100-cow herd,
you're instantly looking at $4,000 just for testing. Testing that, for the cull cows, just confirms what your own eyes and records already told you.
Okay, so $4,000 for testing plus the $500, $800 initial visit. We're already close to $5,000.
Then add in maybe a couple of monthly check-in calls or visits while they analyze the data, another few $100 each time. Plus the time billed for actually writing up the comprehensive strategy document.
So yes, $6,000, $7,000, maybe even more, and you haven't even bred a single cow to beef yet based on this grand plan.
$7,000. Just stop and think about that figure on a farm budget. What else does $7,000 buy you? Tangible things you need.
At today's prices, that's maybe 600 good round bales of hay.
Which is winter feed for 40 cows, easily.
Or half a year's worth of sawdust bedding for a typical 100-cow freestall.
Or think equipment. You could probably find a decent used TMR mixer for that, something that could cut your feed waste by 10%.
So the choice becomes invest $7,000 in actual feed, bedding, or efficiency-boosting equipment, or invest it in a consultant's binder.
A binder that tells you things you mostly already knew, delaying the actual $1,100 per calf revenue stream. It's sacrificing survival essentials for strategy documents.
And what's in that binder usually? What's the deliverable for $7,000?
Lots of complicated looking charts, genetic trend graphs, optimization matrices, Often advice based on, national averages or data from giant farms in total different climates, which might have zero relevance to your local conditions, your feed costs, your buyers.
It's designed to look impressive, sophisticated, not necessarily immediately actionable or relevant.
Exactly. And the whole structure cleverly hides the ridiculously simple cost benefit here. The actual change is using a $20 beef straw instead of a $20 dairy straw. That's it.
The solution costs $5 more per attempt. The planning costs $7,000.
The industry has literally built a multi-$1,000 process around a $5 decision. It generates complexity where none needs to exist.
Which leads to the crucial hidden cost, the planning trap opportunity cost.
Right. We established earlier waiting just 1 month, breeding just 10 cows to dairy instead of beef, costs you about $11,000 in lost potential revenue.
And these consulting plans, they often take 3, 4, sometimes 6 months to develop and roll out.
So let's be conservative. Say you wait 5 months for the perfect plan. 5 months times $11,000. That's
$55,000. You forfeited $55,000 in cash flow while waiting for the plan to be delivered.
And does the consultant ever mention that $55,000 opportunity cost in their proposal?
Never, not once. They talk about potential future genetic gains years down the line. They never calculate the actual cash you're bleeding right now by delaying.
The farm needs cash flow today to pay the feed bill, make the loan payment, keep the lights on. And this system demands they hemorrhage cash for half a year, chasing theoretical perfection.
Which the research shows they're less likely to stick with anyway than if they just started messy and adapted. It makes no sense.
Okay, enough theory. Let's look at real-world examples. Does this just start approach actually work? We have that Fond du Lac farmer anecdote.
Yeah, the Fond du Lac story is a perfect illustration. Puts the plan first dogma in its place. Guy runs, about 280 head? Old school tie stall barn, typical Midwestern setup. Exactly the kind of farm feeling the squeeze.
So what did he do? 18 months ago, he just started.
Pretty much. Started breeding his obvious cull cows to beef semen.
What was his comprehensive strategy? Did he get the genomics? Hire a consultant?
Nope, none of that. He just used his eyes and his records, picked out the classic problem cows, the 3-teater that's a hassle to milk, the cow that's been open for months and just won't settle, the chronic mastitis case that's eating up vet bills and dumped milk.
The ones every farmer knows are on their way out anyway.
Exactly, the obvious ones. He started breeding them to beef instead of dairy. Simple as that.
And the result? The source says he banked an extra $68,000 in revenue last year. Just from those beef cross calves. $68,000.
Wow. Meanwhile, his neighbor,
apparently similar size farm, similar setup, is still developing a comprehensive strategy with some consultant based out of Madison.
So neighbor A has an extra $68,000 cash. Neighbor B has a binder and is still waiting to start.
Neighbor B is stuck firmly in that implementation intention gap, losing tens of thousands in the process.
And this is why the perspective from agricultural lenders is so telling, isn't it?
Absolutely. Bankers look at one thing above all else: cash flow. Can the farm pay its bills and service its debt? When they see a farm struggling, maybe trying to refinance, they see this beef on dairy thing as the simplest fix imaginable.
Wait, you can add $60,000 in revenue from 50 calves with zero capital investment.
Exactly. That's a huge immediate boost to solvency. It makes their loan look a whole lot safer instantly.
And that behavioral economics research backs this up too. The source had that off-the-record quote from a lender.
Yeah, basically saying they see more farmers actually start using beef on dairy when they're desperate, when they're really struggling and need the cash now, more than they see adoption from farmers who are comfortable and just attending educational workshops about it.
Crisis clarifies priorities. It forces action.
When you're drowning, you grab the life preserver that's thrown to you. You don't ask about swimming lesson schedules.
The science confirms it. Interventions driven by immediate need have much higher follow-through rates than those based on purely educational, nice-to-have optimization when things are okay.
And this connects right into the whole farmer stress issue and, frankly, the failure of how a lot of this advice is delivered. We know from research, like those Canadian parliamentary hearings in 2023, when farmers are in deep financial trouble, they tend to withdraw.
Right. They stop going to the auctions, stop attending co-op meetings or extension workshops. They're home, stressed, trying to keep things running, maybe milking in the dark to save a few bucks on electricity.
But where are these comprehensive strategy workshops usually held?
Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. at the Holiday Inn Conference Center downtown.
Right smack in the middle of morning milking and chores for most farms. The whole delivery system often feels designed for the farmers who are comfortable enough to take half a day off, not for the ones who are struggling the most and need practical help now.
And this goes back to how success is measured internally for some of these advisory services.
Yeah, the Journal of Extension piece from April 2024 hit this hard. Extension folks are often evaluated based on workshop attendance numbers and how much participants like the coffee and donuts, the satisfaction scores.
They're not evaluated on whether the farmers who attended actually implemented anything useful.
Or, crucially, whether they actually made any more money because of it.
So the incentive is to run a popular, well-attended workshop, not necessarily to deliver advice that saves a farm $60,000.
It's a structural misalignment. Internal metrics over real-world farmer outcomes.
Okay, we need to pivot now, because it's not just about the farm's internal economics. There's this huge external pressure building. The market itself is changing fast. We're seeing reports from major analysts, Rabobank, CoBank, just in the last month or so, all talking about accelerating processor consolidation in the beef dairy supply chain.
Yeah, this isn't just talk anymore. It's happening. The big packers, Tyson, JBS, Cargill, they're making strategic moves. They need predictable supply. They need consistent quality. And they need massive volume.
And dealing with hundreds of small farms bringing in a handful of calves sporadically just doesn't work for their model, does it?
Not at all. It's inefficient. It's logistically messy. They can't build a reliable supply chain on, as one source put it, guys bring in 5 cows one week, none the next.
What are they doing instead?
They're moving towards locking up supply through exclusive multi-year contracts. They're going to larger operations or groups of operations that can guarantee consistent volume, often with specific beef genetics, and they're offering premium prices for that reliability.
They're basically cornering the market for high-quality, consistent beef on dairy calves.
That's exactly what it looks like. And this leads to the critical deadline prediction the source mentioned. This should be a wake-up call.
What was the prediction?
By the end of 2026, so just over 2 years from now, the prediction is that 70% of the desirable beef dairy supply will be locked up under these exclusive contracts. 70%.
Wow. Okay, so what does that mean for the average farmer, especially the small or mid-sized ones who are still developing their comprehensive strategy?
It means they could be in real trouble by the time their perfect plan is finally ready to implement in late 2026 or 2027.
The door to those premium contracts might already be shut, bolted even.
Exactly. They'll be left selling their calves on the open, volatile spot market, competing with everyone else who missed the boat, likely fighting for lower prices.
Back to potentially getting not much more than those $200 Holstein bull prices if the spot market gets saturated.
It's a real risk. The processors are already signaling this. They're turning away smaller, inconsistent suppliers now. They need that reliable weekly volume, maybe 20 calves a week, minimum, from a source to make the logistics work.
So contrast the farmer who starts now, even small, builds volume, proves consistency over the next 18-24 months.
That farmer is positioning themselves to potentially grab one of those contracts, secure that premium for the next few years.
Versus the farmer still sitting in planning meetings in mid-2025.
By the time they have calves ready in volume, the game might have fundamentally changed. The premium market could be fully allocated.
So the urgency isn't just about capturing the $1,200 price today. It's about securing market access for the future.
It's about ensuring you're not left on the outside looking in when 70% of the market consolidates. It's about long-term viability.
Acting now is essentially buying insurance against being relegated to the spot market scrap heap in 2027.
That's a good way to put it. The market waits for no one, especially not for a 6-month planning cycle.
All right, let's circle back to the advice itself. We need to be really critical of some of the things consultants push, especially when they're charging that $7,000 fee. What are the big red flags farmers should watch out for?
Red flag number 1, definitely, insisting on comprehensive genomic testing before you breed a single cull cow to beef.
We touch on this, but it bears repeating. For identifying cows that clearly shouldn't be making replacements.
It's overkill. It's financially wasteful.
Yeah.
Yes, genomics are great for selecting your elite replacement heifers, but for the obvious culls.
That 3-teater, the chronic mastitis cow that cost you $2,000 in vet bills last lactation, the one that's been open 200 days.
Do you really need a $40 DNA test plus fees to tell you she's not prime replacement material? Come on.
It's using an expensive tool for a job your own records and eyes can do for free. If you can't spot your worst cows...
You've got bigger management issues than genetics, absolutely. Yeah. So that insistence on universal testing up front, big red flag.
Okay, red flag number 2.
Pushing expensive equipment before you even have the calves on the ground to justify it. The source mentioned a consultant heavily pushing a $12,000 remote calf monitoring system before the farmer had even bred the first cow for a beef calf.
$12,000. Based on what? Theoretical mortality risk.
Exactly. But what does the actual research say about preventing calf mortality? Multiple universities agree.
It's colostrum. Good colostrum management. 4 quarts within the first couple of hours.
Bingo. And that's a observation. Manual checks, what does that cost?
A $30 Brix refractometer to check colostrum quality and paying attention, maybe some extra labor time.
Right, not a $12,000 capital investment that costs the equivalent of a year's worth of bedding. That smells like pushing high-margin tech sales, not solving a real problem efficiently.
So unnecessary testing, premature equipment pushing. What's red flag number 3?
Relying heavily on national averages or data from completely different types of farms. If the consultant's presentation is full of ROI projections from a massive 10,000 cow confinement operation in Texas,
And you're milking 150 cows in a tie stall in Wisconsin dealing with snow and $280 drought hay.
that Texas data is virtually meaningless to you. Your costs are different, your climate is different, your local buyers and market dynamics are different.
You need to know what your neighbor, Tom, down the road, is getting for his calves. Who's buying them? What are local feed costs?
Exactly. Generic national averages are easy for consultants to pull up, they look official, but they're often useless for making decisions on your specific farm. It's lazy analysis disguised as expertise.
And this all ties back to the bigger structural problem, doesn't it? The university funding angle.
Oh yeah. This is where the whole system really incentivizes complexity over simple solutions. You see land-grant universities asking for huge sums. The example was $16 million for new research barns in Wisconsin, partly to study the implementation challenges of beef on dairy.
Studying the challenges of implementing a solution that costs $25 per straw.
$16 million. Think about that. If you just gave that $16 million directly to Wisconsin dairy farmers as a $5 per straw rebate for beef semen,
You could probably pay for the conversion of almost every single Holstein bull calf born in the state to a beef cross for the next decade.
exactly, every single one. But that doesn't build fancy research facilities. It doesn't fund large graduate student programs. It doesn't get professors tenure.
So instead, we fund multi-million-dollar research projects to study the complexities of a $25 fix.
It becomes a self-serving cycle. The system is financially rewarded for making things seem complicated and needing extensive study, rather than promoting the simple, immediate $60,000 cash flow boost that farmers actually need. #tag actionable insights segment.
Okay, wow. We've covered a ton of ground. From that $11,000 monthly hemorrhage on just 10 cows, to the consultant traps, to that looming 2026 contract cliff. Let's distill it down. Farmer just finished milking, grabbing coffee, maybe driving to the feed store. What are the absolute must-know takeaways, the actionable stuff from this deep dive?
Right, we need to cut through the noise. It boils down to prioritizing immediate practical action over waiting for some mythical perfect plan. The plan needs to start today, even if it's small and messy.
So, insight number 1. What's the first step this week, maybe even today?
Insight 1, immediate action. This week, today, the action. Call your AI tech right now. Tell them on their next visit, bring some decent general-purpose beef semen, Angus Cross, Sim Angus, whatever's readily available and reasonably priced. The goal. Breed your 5 or 6 worst cows. The most obvious culls you already know you don't want replacements from. The 3-teater, the chronic high SCC, the one that won't breed back. Cost. Maybe $150 total for the semen. That's it. No genomics, no consultant fee. This $150 investment starts the validation process on your farm.
Start small, prove the concept yourself, but start now. Don't wait for a $7,000 permission slip. Okay, what's next?
Insight 2, medium-term strategy, next 3 to 6 months. Scale based on what actually works, not a projection. After that first prig check, usually 3 weeks later, see how those first few cows did. If 4 or 5 out of 6 settled, great, concept proven, action. Scale up immediately, breed the next 15 likely culls. If conception rates stay decent, keep going. Aim to get 30, 40, maybe 50 head bred to beef over the next few months. Goal. Start generating a consistent supply. Get that first cycle of potential $1,400 calves coming through. And if you invest anywhere, invest in simple management tools that pay off, like that $30 Brix refractometer for colostrum, not $12,000 sensor systems yet.
Let the early success pay for the small improvements. Don't go into debt for fancy tech before you know it works for you. Makes sense. And long term.
Insight 3, long-term positioning, next 1-2 years. The key action here is speed of implementation over perfection. Keep the momentum going. Consistently breed your lower-end cows to beef. Build that volume. Goal. Position your farm to be a potential supplier for those premium contracts. Demonstrate you can deliver consistent numbers of quality beef cross calves month after month before that 70% consolidation deadline hits hard at the end of 2026. This is your insurance policy. It's about making sure you have a reliable premium market when the spot market potentially gets ugly. Avoid that scrap heap. Hashtag JagTech Enhanced Show outro. So that's our deep dive for today. If this kind of practical, no-nonsense analysis helps your operation make better decisions, definitely head over to www.thebullvine.com. We've got more articles digging into what's really happening in the dairy world.
And seriously, hit subscribe wherever you get your podcasts or deep dives. We're putting these out twice a week now, bringing you analysis on the topics that matter. And trust me, you do not want to miss next week. We're digging into the true, often hidden costs of conventional feed programs and talking about one company that's trying to completely flip the script on how we think about feeding cows. It's going to be eye-opening. But for today, the final thought is this. You can potentially get $1,400 per calf instead of $200 just by changing the semen you use on your cullet cows. $5 difference per straw. Tell us again why this needs a $7,000 plan.
All right, here's your bottom line. Every Holstein bull calf you're selling for $200 could be a $1,400 beef cross. The only difference? $25 worth of semen. Stop planning. Start breeding. Your action plan is simple. Call your AI tech today. Pick your 6 worst cows. Invest $150 in beef semen. In 7 months, you'll bank $8,400 instead of $1,200. No consultants, no genomic testing, no $7,000 planning process. While you're sitting through another workshop on optimization matrices, your neighbor's already banking $1,400 per calf every month. For the full article with the complete action plan, visit thebullvine.com. That's THEBULLVINE.com. And remember, in dairy, like in life, those who act while others plan are the ones who profit. This has been the Bullvine Podcast. We'll see you next time with more contrarian insights and actionable intelligence the mainstream ag media won't deliver. Until then, stop planning, start profiting.